Hello, welcome to Laura's Painted Minis. I am Laura, and we're going to work on this mammoth mount some more. As you can see, I've gotten quite a bit more done since the last stream, and got just a start on this headpiece. So yeah, kind of playing around with where the highlights will be on the little spikies. So yeah, let's get to it. Are any of y'all catching the Olympics? I've mainly been following the soccer, specifically the women's, because the U.S. men's didn't make it past the knockout stages. That was a pretty. I stopped watching it because it was just not looking good at all. I'm gonna sneeze. Or maybe not. I will try and not do it into the mic if I do sneeze. There's kind of a high pollen count today here. And we're also needing to change our filter in our air vent. Air vents, or just the one vent, the intake, I think is specifically. Excuse me. see if I'm done for now. This is in the shadow, so I'm going to leave these two bottom sides a lot darker than those top sides, because these will just be getting reflected light, not direct light. So that means I won't be going up to a pure white. And this is not pure white, even though it does look pretty bright. I just can show you with my palette in the screen. So here's my pure white, and this is the color that I just put on. So with these other colors here on the palette, it's pretty obvious. It's not pure white. It's just that against these other colors, it does look pretty light. And then that versus that. So you can see a difference. And it'll definitely be more apparent, I think, once I get the rest of this armored plate or plates. Painted up as well. Okay. Trying to make sure I stay on camera. It's a little easier since I have this zoomed out more than I normally would. Because, well, this is a bigger mini. Let's see. So I did get my Patreon video recorded and uploaded. I did it on the tusks. See the finished product and the feet, the toes, toenails. So if you are interested in learning how to paint some tusks or teeth or toenails, I paint them all pretty similarly, pretty much the same. It just colors or color of paint might change, depending on the mini more so. So yeah, go check out my Patreon. I can post my social links here in the chat in just a moment. Boom, boom. I need to blow my nose still, so I'll do this and then blow my nose. You can enjoy the sleepy cat on screen. So that's now in chat. It's also on the screen there. So there you go. A couple different places to look. Chat will make it easier. You can just actually click the link and it will take you to your destination. So yeah, I'm excited to hopefully catch the women's soccer team play for the gold on Saturday. My awesome husband is willing to spend part of our anniversary day watching that. He likes sports, so it's not too hard. It's not gonna be too difficult for him. It's just that soccer is kind of more of my thing. He's more into American football. But he's usually up for watching just about anything. So it's shouldn't be too hard on him. I'm kind of curious how it's going to turn out because it seemed like I kind of watched bits and pieces of the Brazil game against Spain. And I mean, they kind of, it was almost like they almost slaughtered Spain, and then Spain came back and got a couple points, but it was not looking very pretty for most of that game. It was very much Brazil's game. But a lot of Brazil women were getting injured throughout the match. So I'm kind of curious how many of those injuries were just cramps, and or minor and they'll be fine for Saturday, or like how many of those were the types of injuries where some of those players might not be playing, or maybe they're playing but not to their best level. We'll see come Saturday. I could look at the news, I suppose, to see if there's anything official stated. It didn't seem like there was any injuries that were like so bad that they for sure were good, that they were even questionable. So I don't know if there would be anything out there right now. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to sports analysts. I think technically is what they are. And a little bit. I've been trying out painting in the mornings. Before my toddler gets up. So I've been getting a lot more done. And we're getting close to the end of getting all of the NMM done on this. We've got this headpiece, and then shield, and these leg piece. And I feel like once the NMM is done, then the rest of the mini will go relatively quick. Um, trying to see if these other two. There's kind of a little of the same thing of like this little, what to call it. It does look like there might be kind of that same thing on your, these other two. It's really small though. But this is a big mini, so small on this mini is about what I'm used to working with. So we'll see. We'll try. I am going to try. That's not what I meant to do. Trying to think. These other two are not like in direct light at all because of that first one. Like completely covers these two spikes. But artistically, I can always choose to work against that. It's just that I just have to then take a step back and look and see if it still at least looks or reads as nmm. Because if it's not, then my artistic choice is working against me. But it would save me time to not have to be going up super high. So I might keep this as somewhat reflected light for the moment. I'm really hoping by the next stream I do that this mini is either mostly finished or completely done, and then I can get started on some of the Elven Woods set by Dungeons and Lasers. I backed the Encounters campaign. It's like it's been a couple years now. And I am not a fast painter. Nor do I care to be. I like to try and do my best. I mean, I do have a way of sort of speed painting. At least for me, it's speed painting. It's still pretty slow. And it's still probably a bit above the standard of, or at least what I assume is the standard for tabletop, like tabletop playing standard. I hear about a lot of people, especially for like Warhammer, of people kind of relying on basically base coating and doing a wash or using inks. To get a lot of minis churned out. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it does the job. Otherwise, people wouldn't do it. And they don't look terrible. They look okay. You know, especially when you're gonna be like a couple feet away. You're not gonna be looking super close up at the mini at a distance. They'll still look pretty cool. So they're getting in those shadows, and then if you take the time to go back over a little bit with your base coat, then you kind of create sort of a highlight looking thing. Or if you use speed paints, that's supposed to already do that, is my understanding, all at once. But yeah, my speed painting is still not that, so it's still not as fast. I usually don't do NMM if I am going to try and quickly paint up something. The only reason I'm not doing regular mechanics on this one is, one, I do have time. I don't need it done until the end of the month, and I'm already really close. If I can get the NMM done, it probably would take me just a few more sessions, really, to get most of the rest of the mini done. Because NMM just takes a lot of back and forth with colors, your different color mixes, a lot of back and forth blending, and highlighting and shadows and whatnot. It takes a lot of time. And I feel like that is the one thing to remember about doing NMM. It takes time. Even experienced artists will sit there and going back and forth and back and forth. Like it's not one of those things where you can just and bam, you got it done in a couple minutes. If there is someone out there that can do their NMM in like just a couple of minutes, then they are a rarity, is my understanding. I think I forgot to do that highlight on this side. Just little touches. I almost forgot this side of this one. I am very excited for my church's TTRPG weekend. I'm on the planning committee, so we're kind of like in the home stretch here. And, you know, for when it's something as small as this, it's always kind of a question of like, are we going to get enough people to play in all of the games that we've got volunteer GM, like we do all volunteer GMs and stuff like that. So there's always a question of like, are we going to get the people? We also made some changes. We changed the date just because it was always kind of not a great weekend because there were often a lot of other stuff going on in the church. So that meant that we were going to be competing for rooms. Although we can reserve them. So technically not actually competing, but I mean there are other people who would be wanting them. So if they had reserved the rooms before us, that would be a possible problem. But then that also meant that if there's anyone who would have played or signed up, but they can't because they need to go to this other thing that's going on, well, then that's kind of vying or competing for the actual people able to come or not. And we don't want to have to make people feel like they have to choose or always miss out. So, yeah. Trying out a later date, a different date. So, with that, there's the question of is the change going to mean that a lot of people, our regulars, aren't going to be able to make it? Is it going to be worth doing the change? Because we did kind of run into a little bit of a hassle of being able to find DMs that are, or just people who could run games. I think we're in a point where we need to figure out how we can recruit some new people. So, but there has to be people who want, who are at least interested, that we could maybe try doing a little workshop just on how to run a game, or at least how to run a one shot is the very minimum of what they need to know how to do. Because most people are probably not like me, where they're comfortable in just jumping on in with their first running their first session ever at an event like this. Because that is what I did last year. And I mean, I made it easy on myself. I took the Lost Mines of Foundelver, and, or rather, I cheated to make it easy. As far as coming up with some one shots, I took the Lost Mines of Fandelver and tweaked it so that took like basically the main encounters that are in that and turned them into one shots. That just meant that some people who have played through it who have played through the Lost Mines of Foundelver had to play through it again. And it's not really something that's got like super cool things in it, especially the one of the first encounter. So I mean, there's kind of one or two interesting things, but once you've played through it, they're no longer interesting, and there's not very many different things that can happen. So, I mean, once you play through it, those main encounters are kind of going to be kind of boring to play through again. Unless you're just the type who, like, doesn't care and totally just has fun diving into stories with different people. Just keep an eye on time. It's easy to lose track of time when I'm working on nmm. I get into a groove and I space out on time. We'll say painting around these tusks is rather awkward for this for this head plate. My cat is semi-patiently waiting for the stream to be over so that I will open the door and let her out. And then go to bed. I'm a mom of a toddler, stay-at-home mom, so yep, I go to bed kind of early. I've just accepted that. I mean, early on, it was more of a necessity to go to bed early because otherwise I wasn't going to get sleep, very much sleep. Because babies don't sleep through the night right away. They need lots of food. Okay, that looks better. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I think that's a good stopping point. Here, I'll turn it on its side so you can kind of see more of the NMM. Like this is the better view because there's more NMM down on that side. So yeah. There's my socials are there in chat and on screen. You can check me out there. The best ways of supporting me, if you would like to keep this channel going, is to hit that subscribe button. Or you can, if you would just in general want to support me as an artist, you can go to Patreon and choose a tier. There are 3 tiers: a $4 tier that gets you PDF tutorials. There's a $9.99 tier that'll get you videos and the PDF, as well as some shout outs, and possibly other stuff. And then the highest tier is $15, which it gets you all of the previously mentioned stuff plus a 25% discount on all commissions from me. And speaking of commissions, I do have some gigs up on Fiverr if you are interested in general on commissions and want to see what my prices are and how long it takes me to do different levels of a paint job. Yeah. Yeah. So check those out. I've got 3 different gigs. The link there will get you to my profile where you can see all the gigs I have to offer. That's what they call them, gigs, if you're not familiar with Fiverr. There's postings in general. So with that, I will not see you Monday. So it'll be a whole week before I will stream again. Unfortunately, I will be at a funeral on Monday around my regular live stream. So it's unfortunate, but I definitely want to go to that and support my husband's family with their loss. So I will see you in 1 week, next Thursday. All right, and I'll try and pin something there in the chat message just to help you remember on Monday that I will not be streaming. All right. Other than that, I hope you all have a good weekend, and here's to cheering on for the U.S. women's soccer team to going for the gold. All right. Bye, guys.